UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am Counselor Amy Nelson, and with me today, Diplomatic Standard Bearer Kevin Scharf and Head of Real Estate Joe Keegan. Kevin, how are you?
I am doing okay. It is Saturday, it is the weekend, and I have fun things to do this weekend, so I am... And top of the list is recording this episode with you, Amy Nelson. So it's always a good day when we get to do this.
Absolutely. And Head of Real Estate, do they have real estate in the 24th century there, Joe?
I have no idea because it's the 21st century for me. We're in the same planet in the same time, Amy, so we're not in the future. Did you call Kevin Scharf?
She did. I just was,
oh my gosh. Yeah. Why did you have to point that out?
Well, because everybody knows it's Scharf, Amy Nelson.
I know.
Good grief.
It's been a while since Kevin and I have recorded together.
It has
you
been,
don't go to... I know you work in a do you work in a shul? No, you don't.
Yes.
Oh.
Thanks for pointing that out, Joe.
That's quite all right.
I was prepared to let it slide. But
yeah.
I'm actively listening to you. So you might have noticed I'm head of real estate, and I do you know what? I get really excited about things generally, and I always, like when I'm thinking about doing something, I always think I'll keep it a secret and only tell people when it's done. But in reality, I get too excited and I end up just blabbing my mouth off to everybody. Like a wee guy down the street, I'll just say, "Oh, guess what?" So yeah, that never happens. So head of real estate, we're in the process of kind of moving house. This is Ewan's little flat apartment and we're selling it, which is exciting. So we have to sell it, but we've also kind of half bought another house.
What do you mean half bought?
Your
house
top
hunting?
half or the bottom half?
We found a house, we put an offer in, it got accepted. We've got a mortgage for that place. So pretty much we've done all the hurdles. All we need is for this place to sell and a couple other things. And then it should be okay.
That really is super fast. You've gone through this process.
It has been. I've never done the process before because I've never sold a property or bought a property. I've only ever lived with people that have done. But it has been so fast that I've kind of been taken aback by it. And decided to have a wee Excel spreadsheet going with a timeline because I realised it was Tuesday, September the 15th is when I first spoke to a financial advisor just to check if it was financially viable. I know we both bought new cars this year, so we're like up to our eyeballs in car debt at the moment, but that's it. And Ewan owns his property, so it should be, and we've both got the most secure jobs that are well paid in the world. Do you know an asteroid, the moon could impact the surface, and like 6 billion people could die, and they're still going to employ teachers and nurses. You know, so
very true. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very exciting. Hopefully, we'll have moved by Christmas, and I've got a podcasting space all picked out.
Ooh. Joe, is the fall a good time to move in Scotland? Is the weather good for moving? Do you have a good crew of people who will come and for beer and pizza help you move your stuff, or are you just going to hire somebody to do all that?
Oh no, I think we'll just keep it cheap and do it ourselves. We will have people that will come and help us. That's not really an issue. The place we're moving to is literally 2 miles away, so If we could do it with 2 cars and just keep on loading up cars and back and forward, or we'll just hire a big van and load it up, move it, and it'll be easy. I'll send you a wee link of the house, and there's a room for you guys to visit as well.
Excellent.
That's what I was making sure that my room is there.
Yes.
Notice I said my room. And I'm very curious to know how many boxes of Star Trek paraphernalia and collectibles you will need to pack up all of your things.
Okay, so I know you know the number line in mathematics.
Yes.
I know you know. I'm just confirming that you know it. I don't think it goes high enough.
Oh,
in terms of number of boxes, I think it approaches infinity.
That's funny.
Yes. We've bought a property with infinite bedrooms.
Nice.
Just to fill up all our stuff.
Well, we do have some sad news. And unfortunately, I know we need to announce, listeners, that our security chief, Pierre Larocco, has retired from Starfleet. And he is no longer on Galaxy class with us. So we just want to wish Pierre the best of luck. So glad that he joined us, got his podcasting feet wet, and life gets busy and you have to prioritize. And as this is just a hobby and we don't get paid for this, we definitely understand and wish him all the best of luck. So good luck, Pierre.
It's really sad. It's a first away mission and you beam down and you get stung by a sentient vine and you get infected by a virus. And Pierre's life has been really happy up till this point, so he didn't have any negative memories to combat the virus with. So, yeah, we had fun trying to kind of lift him and put him in the torpedo casing to shoot him out. That was fun. We had a good send off. Bye, Pierre.
And his seat is always open here if he wants to come back and guest every now and then. But that's all up to him.
Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
Well, Vera Bible sent us a message about episode 8, What If episode, and Pierre's theory that Jack Crusher could be the Traveler. And Vera said, I'd never thought of Jack being the Traveler, but I absolutely love this theory. I also wonder if we will see the Traveler or Wesley Crusher in upcoming seasons of Discovery. Does anyone know how long Travelers live?
308 years.
Oh, then we probably won't. Your discussion of ethics was fascinating, she continues. It's amazing the domino effect Worf's death would have on the rest of Trek. I also wonder if Alexander might have been better off with Deanna and Lwaxana, especially if he stayed on the ship. Riker, Picard, Guinan, and many other people would look after him. It's a great episode, and I love going down these rabbit holes with you guys. Well, we love digging the holes, so thank you, Vera.
I have a problem with that whole premise. If Alexander stayed on the ship, the entire kind of senior crew is going to look after him. Like, I'm a union rep in school, so it'd be a case of, that's not my job. I signed up for Starfleet, not kind of half, what is he, quarter Klingon, 3/4 human or something?
He's 3/4 Klingon.
3/4 Klingon.
Quarter human. Okay, yeah, that's not what I signed up for. Yeah, I know I'm all about alien relations, but that I draw a line at looking after somebody else's kids when I'm supposed to be exploding.
But they did it with Wesley and did a fine job.
But he was on that.
They tucked him into bed and made sure he did his studies.
I have less of a problem with that. I think that was maybe built. I think it's because we saw it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it just becomes part of Star Trek canon. And we were okay with it then, and we were, as teenagers watching it, we were kind of excited for Wesley to go on this journey with him. But the idea that, what's his name? Alexander? Yeah.
Plus, Wesley was a teenager who could mostly look after himself, too, right? Alexander is a small child who needs much more parenting. So there's a difference there, but...
I have when Kevin, last week when you mentioned that Alexander was supposed to be 2 or 3 in cost of living, I was like, no way. I know when you watch TV shows and like if it's a high school kind of drama like Glee or something, you know they're playing 16 and 17-year-olds, but they're actually like in their mid-50s.
Yes.
And they've just got lots of makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a bit strange to me that he was 2 or 3. I'm going to read an iTunes review next with the title Outstanding Podcast. And it's a 5-star review. And it says, a new cup of tea. I wonder what kind of tea they refer to. That's interesting. That's
Oolong.
just my...
I like oolong.
Yeah. Lapsang Souchong.
And a nice jasmine is very tasty.
Yes, I love a good jasmine tea as well.
A new cup of tea. I'm excited for this podcast's future. UFP has landed a very special crew perfectly fit for TNG. Kapla! And that's from Pluto's orbit via Apple Podcasts. And they're in the US and sent that review on the 19th of August. American date formats. It's like the 8th of the 19th month.
I'm glad you interpreted that correctly, but thank you so much, Pluto's Orbit, for your iTunes review. And we're glad that you are following us over to the UFP. We're glad to have you. And that was very nice. Outstanding podcast.
Outstanding.
And the UFP is very lucky to have us.
Mm.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, they are. We totally make the network, don't we? We're like primetime TV.
Yes, we are. Yeah. So says we.
So says we all.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
No, it's nice to get reviews. So please, listeners, rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's nice to get nice reviews.
Mm-hmm. And 5-star reviews.
True.
No pressure, but we like 5-star reviews.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, today, I'm so excited. Literally favorite topic. I'm sure listeners, you might be guessing. We are going to continue our profiles, our character profiles, and discuss and talk all things Counselor Deanna Troi. This just makes me so happy. If you know anything about me, Troi is my favorite character. And I'm going to ask you guys, what's the first thing you think of when you hear Counselor Troi? Kevin?
Sensing great danger.
She definitely did that a lot.
In the early days, when they didn't know what to do with her.
Or that they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe?
Well, the one word that I would think of is empathy. I think she just is coming out of every pore almost. If I was to summarize her possibly like in a really short sentence, it would be that there's a soft spokenness about her, but that she's quite forthright with that. She knows who and what she is and what she's capable of. And I think they do a reasonable job of developing that through the 7 years in the movies. Less so, I think she's just a bit of kind of male eye candy almost at the beginning. But she really kind of shows some kind of strong character qualities as she develops.
Okay, there's 2 things I want to discuss before moving on.
Okay, you can't even get a word in edgeways because
so much.
Amy just wants to talk for the whole podcast about her favourite character.
Oh, are you guys here? Let me just talk. No, so you said that about empathy. And as I was doing some reading up on Counselor Troi, Marina Sirtis and Denise Crosby, as most people know, auditioned for each other's part. So Marina Sirtis was auditioning for Tasha Yar and Denise Crosby for Deanna Troi. And they switched roles. And so when they called Marina Sirtis back, she was going to read for Deanna Troi. Denise Crosby came up to her and said, you know, there's something that you have, that empathy is natural. And she's like, you need to go with that and lead with that. And so even Denise Crosby could see that Marina Sirtis had this empathy about her, and she brings it to Deanna Troi so well.
Agreed.
I thought Yeah. And then your second point, Kevin and I before talking about when you talk about how Deanna was the eye candy and how different would the characters be. And I think especially Deanna Troi, if TNG were to be filmed in 2020, she would be, her character right from the get-go would be as strong as she was in season 7. Her, purpose would be even stronger than it was of, oh, they're lying and I sense that we're in danger. I think if we saw that, just the way that it was written, because she was, and Marina has talked about it before, like, the lower her neckline was, the less she had to do. Once she got on the uniform, then she was like hitting on all cylinders, being a leader and counseling and having good relationships and strong character. So it's interesting to think about, how would that have been if it was a show written now instead of in the 80s? I don't think she would have been the eye candy.
Would we watch it? Like I know,
we'd watch the hell out of it.
Yeah, of course we would watch it, but the problem, I think, if they remade TNG for whatever stupid reason they thought of, because they thought it was going to bring them in more money, it wouldn't have the same. TNG's just nostalgia for me. Yeah, the storyline, there's some solid storylines and things that we love. Some of the best TV that I've seen is TNG. But if they remade it in 2020, I'm not sure that it would have the same impact on me. Obviously, I'm not 16, 17 now. I'm going to see all the flaws maybe in it more readily.
I think that, when the show was created, they obviously decided that the feature characters, your core cast, were going to be Picard, Riker, and Data. And they were the three characters, along with Worf eventually, who got the most development, and we know the most about their likes and interests outside their work. And we never really got that with Deanna. And what do we know about what Deanna likes to do in her spare time? She eats chocolate and sometimes goes to exercise classes. Like, we don't know about what Deanna's hobbies are. We don't know if Deanna is artistic. We just don't know that much about her sort of personal life. And that's a shame. And I think if the show were made today, we would get more of that. I think she would be a more well-rounded character than what we saw in Next Generation.
Very true. Yeah, I agree with that. They didn't show much of her personal side. You're right. Outside of her family. But she did win or beat Data
3D chess.
3D chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very intelligent there. And she, enjoyed playing poker. They didn't put her as like the best poker player, but she held her own.
Being able to read people's emotions has got to help when you play poker.
Right.
But,
Would she use it, though? Is she too honest to use it?
Yeah, and like Geordi wouldn't use his visor to read the cards, and Data wouldn't use his, mathematical statistical brain to... I think they all sort of held back their strengths to make it a fair game.
Or would it just be a fair game if they all just used their strengths?
Ooh.
Because they're all like the best of the best Starfleet officers. So just use what you've got and try your best to win. Because it's going to... Playing against the best is going to make you better.
True.
It's an interesting point. Do you know what I really like is that casting memo that we've probably all seen. If it's a Paramount casting memo from April 13th, 1987, and it lists all the people they've got lined up to play different characters, and the only one they've got lined up to play Troi is Denise Crosby. It's interesting that the character of Geordi, they've got LeVar Burton, but they've also got Tim Russ, who is Tuvok in Voyager, and they've got Wesley Snipes as well.
Wesley Snipes.
Which is a bit crazy, yeah. There's a bunch of names on it, and I don't recognise half of them. The character of Riker, interestingly, is spelt with a Y.
Oh, that's how my nephew spells his name.
Oh, there's another one. Tasha. Rosalind Chow. Is it Chow?
She was Keiko.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But Denise Crosby isn't listed in the Tasha part.
Huh. It could have been a very different show than what we ended up with.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a good what if.
Mm-hmm. Because isn't it a known fact that Gene Roddenberry did not like Patrick Stewart for the lead of the show?
Whatsoever.
He was overruled by the powers that be at Paramount. So that is a good what if. We should play the next gen recasting game.
If Patrick Stewart didn't get the part of Captain Picard, then it would have been like his life when he didn't get stabbed by the Nausicaans. And like Patrick Stewart would just be a kind of a small time stage actor that nobody would know of. He wouldn't have done TNG. He wouldn't have gone on to do the X-Men or everything else that Patrick Stewart has done.
Crazy. Well, these obscure facts lead us right into our next topic. What obscure facts do you think that our listeners don't know about Troi?
Well, I think, I don't know how obscure this is, but in the early days when they were creating Next Generation, a lot of the Troi-Riker dynamic was based on what was created for the never-produced Star Trek Phase 2 series and the Ilia and Decker relationship. So that's why there are a couple of episodes that are just rehashes of scripts that were originally written for that never produced series, and Troi just sort of slides right into the Ilia role. I think that's kind of interesting that she really is an amalgam of the Ilia character with some new sort of 80s thinking about psychology.
You know, it's interesting, again, just sort of reading up and how much Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis wanted to have that relationship on screen. And they tried to continue it through the first few seasons. And they just say it just got on the cutting floor. It was always edited out, deleted scenes. And they tried in their acting to make that relationship more upfront and more in the face, and this is, you know, part of us, the characters, but it just did not happen until, darn it, the movie.
It's interesting, Kevin, when you say about Ilia being kind of the idea behind Troi almost. That kind of doesn't almost make sense to me, because there's something quite, I want to say sexual, but I don't know if it's the right word. There's something quite sexual about Deanna Troi. Yeah, while I was never attracted to her in the slightest, there is, I think that's maybe the way they wanted to develop the character. But didn't the Deltons, like Alia's character, swear an oath of celibacy so they would never become involved with any non-Deltons?
They were hypersexualized, the Deltons were, so. Yeah.
Interesting.
But you can sort of see the parallels between, you know, the first officer's relationship with another senior officer, and it's there. It's there if you look for it.
Absolutely.
Do you have any obscure facts, Joe?
Oh, obscure facts. I think the one obscure fact that we've already talked about is the fact that it was going to be Denise Crosby as part of Troi. Am I okay to use some of the obscure facts on the list and outline?
Those are my obscure facts.
Why didn't you have your own document?
Because last time I did, you guys cheated and stole all my ideas.
Okay. Okay, obscure fact about, not about...
You can read number one.
No, it's okay. I'm going to have my own obscure fact. Obscure fact. Do you know, everybody knows this obscure fact, and that's not an obscure fact then.
That's an oxymoron.
I am a moron, yes, of the oxy type. Troi's accent and Marina Sirtis' accent. Like, when I meet Marina Sirtis, I've met her a bunch of times. I have kissed Marina Sirtis on the lips in real life. It's fine, listeners. There's a story behind this. It was funny. It was my first Star Trek convention as well, and I was super excited. I don't see the character of Troi when I meet Marina Sirtis. They're two entirely different entities. And I think that's just a testament to how well Marina played the character of Troi. I like the fact that she changed her kind of that London accent that she has, and she made it almost a non-specific kind of European, Eastern European kind of, it sounds kind of foreign and enticing. There's something kind of exciting and unknown about it that I quite like. Also, there's a story about how Marina asked Dominic Keating to go buy her some weed while they were in London together. And Dominic went away for ages, asked some guy he found on the street, probably some kind of junkie, to buy weed from. Unbeknownst to Dominic, the weed dealer just jumped into somebody's garden, grabbed a bunch of grass off the ground, put it in a bag, sold it to Dominic, and then Dominic took it back to Marina, and Marina was like, "That's just a bunch of grass."
Oh my gosh.
From Marina's lips to your ears, listeners.
Oh my gosh, what a story.
Oh.
I know, because I have so many thoughts about when I've met Marina and just how awesome. I love Marina Sirtis. But you were saying about the accent, and she's actually very talented in accents, and she wanted to have Troi have an accent where you couldn't pinpoint the exact location. And so she did have that sort of, Eastern European, but then her natural, accent. But she made it specific so that you couldn't identify exactly and pinpoint where she was from. So, because she's that talented.
It's a bit like that. It's very different, but it's the same kind of thing that there's an American accent which doesn't sound American. It sounds almost Anglified, like Fraser Crane, like Kelsey Grammer's character in Frasier. There's a non-Americanness to his accent. And what was the sitcom? Was it The Nanny with Fran Drescher? See the guy that she nannies for. Him. I'm not sure, but he's got this kind of. I think he's an American, but playing an English guy, but with a weird kind of hybrid accent. And there's a bunch of people, and I honestly, a bunch of actors whose accents I honestly can't place because they're Americans, but they've gone for this weird Englishness about them, which is strange. It's a weird segue, listeners. I apologize.
Yes. So I have a couple. Oh, man, we're not going to get through this episode. All right. So Troi appeared in 169 out of 178 episodes. So every episode except 9. And those 9s are Hide and Q, Data Lore, 11001001, Heart of Glory, A Matter of Honor, Identity Crisis, The Perfect Mate, The Inner Light, and Rightful Heir. But she appeared in everything else. Obscure fact number 1.
I think a lot of those episodes are season 1 episodes, aren't they? Because I don't think they knew how to write her in season 1. And if you read some of the behind the scenes stuff, like I think they were talking about getting rid of her at the end of season 1. And if Gates McFadden hadn't left the show, they would have. And she only stayed so that there could be a female character who continued over onto the second season. No, am I not right?
Okay. You're wrong actress. Denise Crosby left.
Oh, right. Gates was fired.
Contract dispute. Yeah. We're not going to say fired, but...
Oh, right. Gates had a contract dispute, but they wanted to have at least one female character carry over into the second season, right? So that only left Troi.
Yeah. And because Denise left, then that opened up. Yeah.
I don't think I know about the contract dispute between Gates and whoever the dispute was with.
There was a certain
I knew
producer.
she left.
There was a certain producer.
She explains it as a contract dispute. The renewing of the contract never got signed on the dotted line, and then it got pushed back, and then it was like, well, we already got someone else, and it was sort of a mess. And that's only from what I've heard from at conventions. So who knows what the real story is, but that's what has been said at conventions. Now, this was interesting. I did not know this. We all know Jean's affairs, extracurricular affairs.
I don't know this.
He's known. And we all know that Wesley Crusher is Gene Roddenberry's middle name, Wesley. But within a personal secret between him and his assistant, Susan Sackett, her middle name is Deanna. So Gene had this cute little middle name secret. So Wesley is Wesley, his middle name, and Deanna is named after his assistant, Susan Sackett.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this about Gene at all. This is new. This is new information.
Player, yeah.
No clue.
Wow. You haven't heard Rod talk about it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
interesting.
There you go. But yeah, I didn't know where Deanna's name came from, so now I do. So I learned something. And I was telling Kevin before we started, I'm like, man, I didn't know what to put here because everyone knows everything about Deanna Troi. So that was my big one thing that I learned. I've talked about this before on a previous podcast when I talked about Troi. Early brainstorming sessions, Troi was to have 3 breasts. I know. This is a Gene Roddenberry creation. Thankfully, DC Fontana stepped up and was like, women have enough trouble with 2. And how are you going to line them up? Vertically, horizontally, or what? I was like, please don't go there. And they didn't, fortunately. So yes, thank you, DC Fontana, for saving what could have been a complete disaster for Deanna Troi.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think is that not, was there not a 3-breasted woman in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, that Kirk, she jumps from the pool table, tries to jump on Kirk, but then Kirk throws her away and she hits the bar. And then there was the same character in Total Recall.
Yes.
I get that. I get why they did that. Totally get it.
All right, guys. Her career highlight. She definitely has some. I'm very interested to know, what would you define her crowning achievement to be? Joe, let's start with you.
Oh, that's a difficult question, Amy Nelson.
I
crowning
know it
achievement.
is. That's why we're here on the Galaxy class.
I don't know if they're crowning, essentially, but a couple of my favourites are in Disaster, when she discovers that she's in command because she's the most senior officer. She's got Rolaren, who's just been cantankerous, and she's got Chief O'Brien as well, who's a non-com. So she takes the lead because she knows she has to, and I think she does it quite well. And then later on, I can't remember the episode, it's season 6 or 7, when she decides to do the bridge officer training, and she's going through the holodeck training exercises, and she realizes that she has to send Geordi to his death in order to save the ship. And it's like, oh, I don't think that's ever occurred to her before, but she does it because she knows that's what's required. So I think those are my two favourite moments. If I thought about it more, then I'd probably come up with a bunch more. But I'm really interested to what you guys think.
Kevin?
Well, I was thinking about the moment where she decided to take the bridge officer's test. I thought that was a great one. But also, I love when she is forced to take command and to do things that are outside of her comfort zone, like in Face of the Enemy when she has to take control of a Romulan ship, and she does that all on her own without any help from any of her friends really on the Enterprise. So I would love to have seen more stories like that with Troi, where she was being kick-ass and being the leader that we know she could be. So yeah, I would think Face of the Enemy is a big one.
Face of the Enemy totally is a huge, massive one. I can't believe I didn't think about it. You got to know that her empathic skills are dialed up to 11, if not 12.
Exactly. And, Generations, where she, like we talked about earlier, I think before the recording, she saved everybody on the ship. The ship was crashing, and she landed it safe enough that nobody died. So that's a pretty big achievement too. So
she didn't crash the ship, as people so often say. She actually crash landed it safely.
Exactly. She's the Sully Sullenberger of Star Trek. She landed it on the Hudson, and everybody got off safe.
Oh, I love that movie. Tom Hanks.
Yes.
I didn't know Tom Hanks could fly planes so well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a running joke. A lot of people who I will not name names like to tease me about Troi crashed a ship. And it's always my comeback. No, she saved everyone, including Spot. So she's the hero there. Thinking about career highlights, and it's sad that it happened in season 1, but I absolutely love how well she counsels. And so I have a couple of examples. The first one being Skin of Evil, where she literally gets Armus to break down. And it was her single-handedly, like what she does to learn about him, to figure out, this is a hostile creature. And she learns about him. She breaks him down. She really gets into like why he's hurting, and counseling genius happens at Skin of Evil. And it takes place in season 1. So I'm like, is that her crowning achievement? It happened in season 1. But continuing on with that, her counseling with Tam Elbrun. Yes, thank you. And how she gets with him. What's the name of the episode? It's not Galaxy's Child. Tin Man. Thank you. And then also showing up on Voyager, where she's counseling with the Doctor and helping the Doctor relate to his creator. And like that tension there, I think she just does good. But there's so many examples where she is counseling, but those I think are her crowning achievements that show us how good of a counselor that she really is.
It's got to be hard to be the counselor on a ship full of people who are almost perfect, right? I mean, we were given this crew on Next Generation who are the pinnacle of humanity, right? They are all wonderful shining examples, well adjusted. So the fact that the counselor was on the bridge most of the time sort of leads you to believe that maybe there wasn't a lot of personal counseling that needed to be done on the ship. And I think psychology is a hard thing to show on a television series too. It's not action oriented like being first officer, or skill based like being an engineer. So it is great when we get to see her actually doing her job.
That is an excellent, excellent point, because so many people, and it's a bone to pick with people that Guinan was a better counselor than Troi. I'm like, shut your mouth. Again, to your point, it's very difficult to see that. But there are almost every single episode I watch, I'm like, there's just a quick, 4-minute scene, dialogue interchange between Troi and Picard. And it's just these small fleeting moments that build up and show really how important she is to Picard. And I've always said she's there on the ship. Her number one priority is Picard, is the captain, whoever the captain is. She's there for him. The crew is secondary. And so that's why I love seeing her on the bridge. And those moments that Picard and Troi share are just so important, but yet they're so minimal. But when you sum them up, you get an amazing relationship between her and Picard that I think is also a crowning achievement.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It's interesting that you say that there's always an interaction between Troi and Picard. And for some reason, I've just thought that the entirety of TNG is the Picard show. It's his journey. And the bridge crew aren't actually real. They are just parts of Picard's psyche, like his ego and his superego and his id, if we're talking about like kind of Freudian psychology. And it's all just in his head. I have no idea why my brain's just gone in that direction, but it's interesting to think that Troi is just Picard's the empathic side of his brain.
Yes. She is there as his counterpart because and this was said in I think the TNG Companion, that, Picard is so logical and straightforward, and she's there to complement that.
He's surrounded himself with people that complement his personality in order for him to do the best job. That's a very good point.
Yeah. Well, what familial relationship do you think has shaped her life?
Sorry, Amy, I forgot. I remembered it. I forgot it. I remembered it again. Can we go back to the previous question, the crowning achievements? And I think it's kind of an overlooked and important point. Surviving, I think, is maybe her biggest achievement. To think of all the trauma that she's gone through in the 7 years in the 4 movies, that she has survived. If it was any normal human being, they would have some serious PTSD, PTER, I think it's called nowadays. They would have some serious issues. So from what we know of her today, she lost a child in the child. She, even though it was a very, very short timescale thing, she discovers that she's lost her older sister. In Picard, we see that she's lost a son. She's been mentally assaulted on numerous occasions.
Mm-hmm.
There's a TNG episode whose name escapes me, and then there was Nemesis, where she's essentially mind raped by the Remans.
Violations, that's
the episode. So yeah, if that was one of those events, would be enough to break a normal human being. But she survives all these encounters kind of over and over and over again. So I think that's maybe, for me, that kind of trumps everything else. She survives and she gets stronger with it.
She does. And I know we'll get there, but it just fits in. One of my quotes that I end each episode with is turn a disadvantage into an advantage. And I think she, through those examples, as you said, exemplifies that. She lives that. She does that.
I think it's so easy to see the frivolous side because they're visible, like the fact that she loves chocolate and she's got a plunging neckline and she's got a big kind of curly feminine wig on. But it's the invisible aspects of her character that you maybe have to look a bit more closely at, that are the more important ones ultimately, and why we love her.
That's interesting because it's sort of a phrase in the employer world, like your soft skills versus your hard skills. And she has those soft skills, like you were saying, like the endurance and surviving. You can't really
teach it. It develops over time.
Yeah. Listeners, we have so much more to say about Troi.
No, listeners, Amy Nelson hasn't shut up for like 45 minutes, so we're going to make this a 2-parter.
We are, because there is so much. So let's just wrap this up with our favorite moments and quotes, and we will come back to part 2 because there's so much more to talk about. Her family, relationships, and how much there is there. Like there's gold with Lwaxana. So we will come back for part 2 and finish up her character profile. But please, favorite moments. You sort of talked about them with her crowning achievements. But Kevin, do you have any favorite moments or quotes from Troi?
So one of the episodes I rewatched this morning before recording was Fistful of Datas, because Troi has such a fun part in that episode. And this is an episode where most of the crew is just sort of taking it easy. They've got not much going on. And just how much she revels being the Durango kid and this sort of lone gunslinger, mysterious stranger who comes to town. I love seeing her like that. I thought that was a really fun episode. And I thought Marina's performance in that was amazing.
What was the last panel that I saw her on? It was a TNG one, not the Star Trek Day, but the one before that. Oh, I think it's San Diego Comic-Con. I watched that one. And they were talking about how, someone in Picard and, it's the first space cowboy. And Marina's like, nope, that was me in that episode, Fistful of Datas. I don't think she actually said it, but we all knew her character in Durango as Durango was amazing. And Kevin, I'm just going to throw it out there. We got an email from Star Trek Cruise, and we got to vote on a theme night, and one of them was Wild Wild West. And I, of course, voted for that one so that I could cosplay as Durango on the cruise. So, and I have the Troi Durango action figure.
That's awesome. I love seeing Troi as an action hero too. And really, she leapt in to protect both Worf and Alexander. She knew what she was doing. She could handle that rifle. It's not a phaser. It's a 19th century rifle, and she knew what she was doing. So I think that's an episode that proves that Troi is not a weak character.
Yeah. Joe, how about you?
Favorite? Do you know what? Insurrection, when she rekindles her relationship with Riker. When Riker comes in, they're all been affected by the metagenic field of the Baku planet, and Riker comes in all kind of almost like a horny teenager. And Troi, they kiss, and Troi says, yuck. And he's like, yuck? He's like, I've never kissed you with a beard before. It's funny. It makes me laugh.
Yes. When you said that, my mind went instantly to their bath scene.
Oh, the bath scene. The bath scene's a bit kind of creepy. I don't like the bath scene.
Oh, I love it.
It's just a bit strange. I don't know. But yeah, I get why you like it.
One quote. Well, I have 4 listeners.
Amy has infinite quotes.
But one that just really popped to my mind, and it's not even something that she says, but it is said to her by Captain Picard at their wedding. And he is giving their toast. And when he looks at Deanna and says, "You have been my guide and my conscience," like that just makes me tear up. And again, shows the importance of Troi to his career and to him personally. Like, I love that. And I love how Patrick Stewart delivers that line. Like, it says so much. Look, I'm all getting teary-eyed about it. But some really awesome things that Troi says. Troi says to Picard, "Confidence is faith in oneself. It can't easily be given by another." And then Troi to Data, "Feelings aren't positive or negative. They simply exist. It's what we do with those feelings that become good or bad." And then Troi to Worf, "To admit you're afraid gives you strength." And why I read them all together is because I think it sums up Troi best, is that she knows exactly what to say to that person. Like Picard, he is full of confidence, but when he doubts himself, she knows exactly what to say. And like to Data, Data is so binary, right? On, off, good, bad. And I love this. And I have touted this quote to other people. It's like, enjoy and accept your feelings. Feelings aren't positive or negative, because this was in first generations when Data was, oh, these feelings are bad. They just exist, and it's what you do with those feelings that make it either bad or good. Like having the feeling itself is not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. They are. And then to Worf, like we all know Worf is about strength and honor and dignity. And so for her to say, you need to admit that you're afraid and that's what gives you strength, like is so perfect for Worf. I think that these quotes, again, she knows what to say to the person because she's this awesome counselor, and I love it.
She does do her job very, very well. And she knows, and I think because she can get into a person's feelings without having to talk about them, that gives her an edge, of course. But I always felt like she should have been used more in first contact situations, and been sort of the face of the ship. She could have been the face of the ship, leading the early negotiations, because she just has that great way with people. People like her. I can't think of a single person on the Enterprise who doesn't like Counselor Troi. She's a person that you can talk to. So I think she's a very key member of that crew. I think Marina Sirtis played that character so well that we never saw a counselor on another Star Trek again until Ezri Dax showed up for one season. So it's an interesting character study, I think. Joe?
I totally agree with you. I don't think there's much more to say.
Except we will continue this in
indeed,
a part 2.
Because there is more to say.
Well, but not on this topic.
Oh, true.
Well, on this topic, but not on these questions.
Incoming transmission.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll comment on our United Federation of Podcasts Facebook page or join the Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email the network at contact@ufp.earth, and we might read your email on the show.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review, like the one we read out at the beginning of the episode. Make sure it's a 5-star review, though. That helps others to find the show. You can always follow the entire network's podcasts with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows, like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, I said it this time without stumbling almost, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and Trek Pod.
So, Kevin, what section of the ship can you be found while out there in the universe?
Well, if I'm not in 10 Forward eating a delicious bowl of chocolate, you can find me on a couple of other podcasts I do. True North Nerds, which is a general nerd and geekery show I do with some local friends, and Stage Whispers, a show about local theater in my part of the world, which is Central Ontario. You can find me on Twitter at True North Nerds and on Facebook in the Federation Council Chambers. So, Joe, when you are sensing great pain, what part of the ship are you on?
Oh, I'm under a blanket somewhere, hiding, trying to make the pain go away. What is it, an ostrich, emu, whatever the bird is that buries its head in the sand? That's what I'll be doing. But when I'm not doing that, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can email me, joepodcasts@gmail.com, or you can tweet me on the Twitter at joeyjoe77uk. So, Amy, where can people find you when you're hunting down Marina Sirtis?
Well, funny you should say that because I did tweet at her hoping that she would reply in time for this episode to see what she thought. I asked her a question about Troi. I said, I'm doing a podcast, but I didn't hear from her. That's okay. She's busy. I totally understand. But yes, I am hunting down Marina a lot.
Oh, cease and desist. Cease and desist.
But you can find me here on the network where I co-host All Good Things with my good friends Pat Devlin and Ken Tripp. I am on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson. You can find me there on the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth. That's UFPEarth to get all the details. We have 4 different levels, starting at just $1, which is like 70 pence per month, and we would appreciate any support you could give us.
It's $1.30 Canadian, just in case anybody's wondering. We would also like to...
We should put that in our notes. That's awesome.
We just have a giant list of all the currencies and a conversion
and it
table.
changes week to week, yes.
Yes.
We would like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shea Mutala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time.
Well, this isn't something a ship's counselor is supposed to say, but you had it coming.
You should do great joy and gratitude like I used
Oh, yeah,
to
do you know, I was trying to Google it and I couldn't remember what you used to say. Great joy and gratitude.
Turn a disadvantage into an advantage.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.